Welcome to 700 Club Interactive. Today we're going to talk about Islam. It's the fastest growing religion in Europe, and it's on the rise throughout the West. In France alone, 10% of the population there is now Muslim. Compare that to the 1960s, when it was less than 1%. As Muslims gain in number, influence across Europe, some believe it points to a future where Islam becomes the dominant religion. Dale Hurd has the story.
This Muslim call to prayer marks the 100-year anniversary of the opening of the Grand Mosque of Paris. Once the only official mosque in all of France, there are now almost 3,000, with more than 30,000 mosques across the European Union, including one of the newest, the Grand Mosque in Strasbourg. The number of Muslims in Europe and the United Kingdom has grown to more than 50 million, making Islam the fastest-growing religion there. After 9/11, political leaders began welcoming large numbers of Muslims into Europe because they thought it could create harmonious multicultural societies. It hasn't worked out that way. Many European cities now are plagued with Muslim no-go zones, areas too dangerous for police to enter. The Dutch asylum minister canceled a visit to an asylum center last week because it was deemed a security risk. There's been a rape epidemic that statistics have tied to migrant men. And in Britain, social unrest over what's been called two-tier policing, preferential treatment for Muslims by police, has led to predictions of civil war. Austrian political scientist Dr. Rolf Schollhammer.
But we already have these signals, the suburbs of Paris, Malmö in Sweden, in Berlin, in Manchester, Liverpool, East London, where parts are controlled by Muslim gangs. Now, there's this attempt to kind of gloss it over and say, oh, no, these are just the birthing pains of the new great multicultural society. But I don't think that's what it is. Where young men are out in the streets and say, we want the caliphate.
The new multicultural societies in Europe and Britain have made it dangerous to be a woman or a Jew. In Brussels, on the one-year anniversary of the October 7th massacre, pro-Hamas demonstrators joined in a public prayer for Allah to burn the Jews. Joel Rubenfeld heads the Belgian League Against Anti-Semitism.
My city, Brussels, looks more and more like Gaza. It's just crazy. It's a tsunami of anti-Semitism. Every Jewish people I speak with in Belgium, they ask to themselves, where will we go?
In Britain, polls show a majority of Jews are considering leaving because of growing anti-Semitic violence.
A trend that was already evident before October 7th has simply metastasized out of control. We have rampant Islamist and leftist extremism in the UK, and perhaps more worrying still, we have authorities which are failing to do anything about it, or if they are acting, it's only acting to appease the extremists. So for a lot of British Jews, now we're starting to question our future here.
Britain is also reeling from a grooming gang scandal in which primarily Pakistani Muslim men raped and trafficked hundreds of thousands of white English girls over more than 10 years, while police and officials look the other way. And in this officially Christian nation, Christians find themselves as second-class citizens because of a system that favors Islam. King Charles recently changed his title in an official document from Defender of the Faith to Protector of the Space for Faith within the multi-faith nation. It means he will now also defend Islam. In an interview with CBN News, Dr. Gavin Ashenden, a pastor in the court of Queen Elizabeth II, accused Charles of breaking his coronation oath and says the late Queen, who was a devout Christian, would consider Charles' reign a disaster.
I don't think she'd be very impressed by Charles's downgrading Christianity to one of a smorgasbord of faiths. We do need somebody who will protect the faith. We really ought to be able to stand in the public space and tell people what the Bible says or what the church teaches. We'd like to introduce people to Jesus, but to be told that we can't by the police, whilst at the same time Muslims are free to talk about Muhammad or even to be violent in Muhammad's name is a real problem. It's hard not to feel betrayed when the stakes are so high.
Former Muslim and Christian television host Brother Rachid says while Islamic doctrine does not allow for a Christian king like Charles to protect it, Muslims see this as another sign Islam will dominate one day.
Well, Muslims are happy that Europeans are opening the door for Islam, and that's what they want. And I grew up as a Muslim, and I always dreamed, because that's the mentality I grew up in. We always dreamed that one day we will conquer Rome, we will conquer Europe, we will conquer America, and we will subdue them.
Brother Rachid adds that in Islam, mosques in Christian nations are seen as Muslim territory and act as forward military bases.
It's like a Trojan horse inside Western society, and they wanted to build it so they can claim it for Islam.
Both Brother Rachid and Dr. Scholhammer believe it may already be too late for parts of Western Europe and the United Kingdom. And their future now may have to be a choice between being dominated by Islam or civil war. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
Well, for more on this, Brother Rachid is now here with us to answer some questions about what in the world's going on. So tell us about this dream you had of you wanted to conquer Rome. I think most children in America growing up aren't thinking that. So you were thinking that. Why?
Well, because when you grow up as a Muslim, you are indoctrinated since childhood. So we have texts from Muhammad that tells us that in the future he will conquer Rome. And we dream that one day Islam will be dominant. Islam was created in the 7th century to subdue other religions and other tribes. So it's a tribal religion based on war. So always dreaming to conquer other places. And remember, North Africa was a Christian place where I was born. Morocco, the Berbers, they were Christians. And also St. Augustine
was a Berber.
St. Tertullian as well was a Berber.
Yeah. So, Egypt was a Christian country.
Exactly. Iraq. These places. So Islam expanded to these places, and Spain was under Islam for 8 centuries. So the mentality of Islam itself is conquering other places, especially Christian nations, because they were opposing Muhammad since the birth of Islam. They told him, you're not a prophet. So there is an enmity within the text, which calls Muslims, for example, chapter 9:29 calls Muslims to fight against Christians and Jews and subdue them. So we have eschatological hadiths in Islam that tells us in the end days you will conquer Rome, you will conquer the whole world, and it will be under Islam. Growing up as a Muslim child, you hear that every day. My mind was telling me one day we will conquer those places, we'll convert them to Islam, or at least they will live as dhimmis under Islam.
Well, part of that prediction by Muhammad was first Constantinople.
True.
And then Rome. True. And so Constantinople was 1453.
Yeah.
And what was the Byzantine Empire?
Yeah.
What was the largest church in the world for 1,000 years? Yeah. The Hagia Sophia became a mosque. Right. The Byzantine Empire became Muslim.
True.
And then from there they tried to conquer Europe. They also took Spain and then tried to conquer Europe to fulfill that. What's the strategy now? Because militarily, I don't think they can do it. But what's the strategy now?
Militarily, they are trying to, like, for example, Iran trying to have the nuclear weapons so they can do it. But since they cannot, they are trying to do it from within the Western societies, especially through immigration and through fertility rate and through infiltrating the political system as well. We see it in UK, for example. We have the mayor of London. We have the minister of state and home state, I think. She's Shabana Mahmoud. Shabana Mahmoud and Sadiq Khan, they are the head of key departments in UK. We see it in France, for example. Rashida Dati, which is a Moroccan origin, she took the Minister of Justice there. So they're trying to to occupy key positions in those places so they can influence politics and influence policies within the country. And remember, they are just 10% in France, for example, and they have this much influence. Imagine in 20 years or 30 years, if they are 25%, how much influence they will have in these countries.
And also influence in the UN. International Criminal Court, UN, all of their commissions, and whether it's UNRWA or these other, it's all populated with Muslims. And for me, the International Criminal Court, the prosecutor was British citizen, but his father was Pakistani. He's a Pakistani Muslim. Yes. The Chief Justice was a Lebanese Muslim who is now back in Lebanon, I think in line to become the prime minister. So you look at these things and go, how in the world? I mean, that is an advanced planning to take over key centers and key thoughts and then sort of establish under international law that cover some umbrella that somehow or other Israel is an illegal state. True. Or Israel has committed war crimes.
True, and also like they copy each other, because when it succeeds in one place, it becomes a plan in other places. We see it, for example, in New York now. You have Mamdani, and we see it in L.A. We have one of the judges now is a Muslim there. He oversees all the judicial institute there. So we have plans in Europe, and probably they will be copied in the U.S. since nobody is opposing them or stopping them, and they see them succeed in other places. Why not try them in Australia, in America, and Canada?
Well, let's go back to Iran. You mentioned that it's part of their strategy as well. They're trying to fulfill the same prediction by Muhammad.
True.
Why was it so significant that the Ayatollah, when President Trump, and I'm not talking about the current war, but when he bombed the nuclear facilities, the Ayatollah went to a refuge and he mentioned a sword?
Yes.
Why was that so significant?
Well, you know, the Shia faith, it's just another version of Islam, which means at the end of the days, the Mahdi will come and we will conquer the whole world. And in Sunni Islam, I grew up as a Sunni, so we have the Caliph and the whole Muslim Caliphate. They have the other version, is the Shia Islam, the Ahl-al-Bayt, the house of the Prophet. They are going to rule. The Mahdi will come and will conquer the whole world. Of course, the sword of the Mahdi will be the weapon they are going to use against the whole world. The sword of the Mahdi is not just a sword. It has divine powers to conquer, to defeat evil, which is America and Israel, the Jews and Christians. I wrote a book about the ideology behind Islamic terrorism, and I put the first chapter, in the beginning, it was hatred. The hatred for Jews and Christians was born with Islam. It's embedded in the first texts of Islam. So that's why the mind of a Muslim, either Shia or Sunni, is to conquer the Christian world and Jewish world. The Jews are represented by Israel. Christianity now is represented by America, because we are the last nation to defend Christianity on earth.
And the Ayatollah is saying we're the greatest obstacle to Islam dominating everything.
The greatest Satan.
Why are we not aware of it? It's like the Muslims have a better sense of their own history than Americans or Europeans have a sense of our shared history. Most Americans don't know anything about the Battle of Tours, or the sack of Burgundy, or what happened to Spain, the Reconquista, the naval battle of Lepanto, the fall of Constantinople, the siege of Vienna. They don't know any of that.
Well, because here history, especially with Western academia and society, history is just part of history. We are living now and living for the future. In Islam, history makes who we are. It's part of our identity. We go back trying to replicate history. We are not living for the future, any kind of future. We are just trying to bring back the glories of the past, which are embedded in the caliphate. Remember, it was an Islamic empire that dominated the whole world from the east to the west. And if America was discovered back in the days, probably they would have tried to invade it too. But looking at it from that angle, history is part of Islam. We're trying to bring Sharia back. We're trying to bring the 7th century model of Islam, bring it now. Americans, Europeans, the West do not look at it that way, but Islam does, and that's the difference between the two worldviews.
Is it a coincidence that 1492 is the year Columbus discovered the Americas? It's also the year that Spain, the last Muslim, left.
I don't know about that. I never thought about it this way, but it's
the same year.
Yeah, it is the same year. But does it have any significance? Yes, for sure, because Spain stopped Islam. Otherwise, every Western country now could have been a Muslim country if it wasn't for the Reconquista.
Well, I think all of South America would have been Muslim.
True.
If that had not happened.
Yes.
And it took 500 years to do that.
Yes.
From your point of view, what's it going to take for people in Europe, the United States, to awaken to this, to understand their own concept of compassion, their own concept of equality and freedom of religion is actually being used against them?
Well, I think I still have hope and faith in United States because people are getting a little bit aware of what's happening. People are speaking against it. I didn't see it before. I immigrated to the U.S. in 2005. I didn't see that happening right back, but now I see it. I see YouTube channels, podcasters, and writers, authors, TV shows. Many people are talking about it, which is, I'm very happy to see that. But in Europe, I don't know. I just see it's almost impossible. It passed the returning point in certain places like UK. How are they going to undo this? Especially that immigration is still ongoing, and fertility rate of Muslims is way bigger than Europeans themselves. So how are they going to overcome that? I don't know exactly what's going to happen.
So you think it's already a done deal, that just the demographics are going to take over? And do you have a prediction of when that's going to be?
Unless major events happen, that's the trajectory it's going to take. But history tells us sometimes people awaken when a disaster happens. And for America, for example, 9/11 changed the course of things in a certain way. I know it's not like what we wanted.
Well, I'll push back.
Yeah.
I never thought after 9/11 New York City would elect a Muslim as a mayor. But here we are, and they did.
True. We never forget. We forgot easily, but the left. But if you look at the other side, they are resisting. They are trying to push back. They are doing what they can to expose this unholy alliance between the left and Islam. But in the past, even the conservatives, they were talking about peaceful Islam. I heard Bush, for example, right after 9/11, and saying it has nothing to do with Islam. Now I don't hear it that much from the conservatives and the right. At least they are pointing to the source of these things, and they are saying, even Islamists or Islamism, I don't agree with the term, but it's pointing to Islam as a source of these ideology. Back in the days, it didn't happen like this.
Well, why would Bush do that? Because I questioned it. You know, he said Islam means peace. And I'm going, no, it doesn't. It means submission.
True.
So Why? Was he just trying to not have it get into a wider cultural battle throughout the Middle East? Was he trying to placate the Saudis? What was behind that?
Well, I spoke to many who are defending that idea, and their main argument is if we say Islam is the source of this, we're going to align all Muslims behind the terrorists, and we are going to lose the battle. So instead of doing like that, we have to gain Saudi Arabia and other United Arab Emirates, Morocco, other places, so they can join us in the fight against terrorism. We have to distinguish between two ideologies and call this Islamism or fanaticism or Islamic terrorism or whatever name we give it, and leave Islam out of it, so Muslims will feel they can help us fighting this identity.
You know, I've met with Muslims in Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, Philippines, India, broken bread with them. They're nice people.
Yes.
What gets them to that radical state where they say they're going to kill the infidel?
It's as simple as this. The more you read the Bible, the more you become like Jesus, peaceful and loving. The more you get into the Quran and read more of it and try to implement it in your life, the more you become radical and go in towards direction. So for me, ignorance of so many Muslims, they ignore what their books say. It's actually a blessing. And so many of them are cherry picking. They are very selective. They choose certain parts of Islam. My mom puts the scarf, for example, and she does few prayers, but she ignores the rest. That's also a blessing. Imagine if every Muslim tried to follow Islam to the letter. We will be in big trouble today.
Is that why there's a sort of Muslim on Muslim violence? That, you know, for decades in my life, it was the terror seemed to be directed at fellow Muslims, that you're not Muslim enough, and therefore I'm going to kill you.
Yes. There were groups, we call them Jama'at Takfir wal Hijra, which means calling others kuffar or infidels because they are not following Islam to the letter. They start with society itself. So they say the government is kafir, infidel, they are not following Islam, we have to overthrow them. The society is kafir because many, in Morocco, for example, one of the statistics, only 15% did the daily prayers. I think 2006 or 2007 was the statistic done. So for those, more than 80% of Moroccans are not Muslims because they are not doing the daily 5 prayers. So yes, from that point of view, most of Muslims are not actually Muslims. Mm-hmm. They are just infidels, but they have nominal Muslims, let's call them.
So culturally,
yes.
They eat right.
Yeah, they don't eat pork.
And you know they're halal.
Yeah.
And they do the outward, but inwardly and I think a lot of it is they can't read Arabic, and so they can't read the Quran.
Even if you can, the Quran is very difficult to understand. It's the 7th century language. It's like reading Shakespeare today to your child. And it's very hard to grasp. Even for me, Arabic is my first language. Mm-hmm. When I read the Quran, I have to use the help of commentaries and dictionaries to explain certain words because we don't use them today.
I think one of the mysteries to Western cultures is, I've got to call it for how I see it, the denigration of women, particularly infidel women, that there is no reason to not rape them and to put them into sexual slavery. Why?
You mean in UK, for example?
Yeah, well, the UK grooming, but what happened in Iraq with ISIL, and the minorities there, I mean, the reports that
horrible.
I've seen it, I've heard the testimony,
yeah,
and sold in a market,
yes,
as a sex slave.
Yeah, but because Islam is a male religion. Look at it this way: woman is just a reward for males. It's a war religion. How are you going to reward warriors? when they invade a tribe or a country, they get concubines, those sex slaves, and they can sell them, they can trade them, they can have sex with them, they can do whatever they want with them. And the same thing for the eternal life, they believe that you will be rewarded with virgins too. So a warrior, if he dies, he will tell Muhammad, what if I die? I'm not going to get those sex slaves. Well, if you die, you will have 72 there. So it's rewarding with women. It's part of the Islamic theology. Women is just a thing. They are not going to fight for Islam. They are not going to invade. They are not soldiers. So they didn't give them that level of importance in Islam. They are just, you own them, actually. You use them for your benefit. And that's one of the things I use in my shows. The statue of women in Islam is very low. She is half of the brain of a male. She half of the testimony of a male. She doesn't inherit like a male, half. And also, if you kill her by mistake, the money, the blood money, is half of a male. If she testifies, she needs another female with her. If she passes in front of you while you are praying, it interrupts your prayer. You have to redo it. She's not clean. Males are clean. Many things. And beating women in the text, I shared this many times, that my dad used to beat my mom in front of me. When I objected many times, he said, are you going to object to the Quran? The Quran gave us that permission to discipline women when they disobey their husbands. So it's part of the culture, it's part of the theology. And when immigrants go to the UK or to Europe, come to the US, they bring that baggage with them and they use it in the streets. And that's why they look at females as sexual things. They are not really as people. So
I heard them, I'm speaking, they're like cattle.
Yeah.
Women are cattle.
Yes. Yes.
That they're your possession and do whatever you want.
Exactly. And I have seen videos when they arrest them, he said, it's part of our religion. And even when you look at Muhammad, like he's 53, married to a 6-year-old. Well, I mean, it's disgusting for any normal person, even back in the days, because some Muslims, they say, well, back in the days, they used to have little girls marry old men. I say, no, Rome existed before Islam, and the minimum age was 12. So why 6 in Islam? Back in the days, it was even better to live in Europe than in a Muslim place. So a woman, you own her, you do whatever you want with her. She is not to rule even, like now, you can't see women ruling in a Muslim world because they don't have the brain to rule over Muslims. And that's how they look at them. And they make fun of them, actually, because they are not able, for them, they are not able to be like males, to act like males.
Then why the alliance with the progressives, the left? It just seems to be incredible to me that anyone of that sort of socialist, Marxist ideology would align with radical Islam. It makes absolutely no sense.
Because of the shared hatred for the West and the Judeo-Christian values. Because the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So if Muslims have the same enemy, let's be friends now and sort out our differences later. That's the mentality they work with. It's especially, for example, when you hear about also the LGBTQ community, they are allying with Muslims, going to protest against Hamas. And if you see, I mean, let one of them go live among Hamas people and see what's going to happen to them. It's just crazy. I can't believe what I'm seeing.
Oh, there's I don't know if it went viral or not. It, for whatever reason, got into my algorithm of Gays for Palestine marching in New York City with the placards and everything, and being shown to a group of Muslims through the internet, and them falling literally out of their chairs in laughter.
Yeah, exactly.
As they're seeing that.
It's a silly joke. I mean, nobody's taking it seriously from the Muslims. When I talk to my friends overseas, they say that this is a joke. The West is a joke. So that's how they are looking at it.
When the King of England comes out and says, I'm no longer the defender of the faith, I'm a defender of all faiths, and he comes out in Ramadan with Muslim, what's the reaction within the Muslim community?
Well, Muslims are happy, not because he's a protector of the faith. Muslims do not believe that any infidel can protect their faith. The protection comes from Allah, then the Caliph and the people who are righteous, Islamically saying. For them, it's a foot gained in the Western society, in UK specifically. So, yes, they will applaud it. They will say, good, go for it. We like it. Not because they believe in it, because it's a step forward. They're getting controlling. They're controlling the whole UK right now. If the king says that, let it be. And we are going one step further after that. I don't know what comes next. Probably even the church, some churches will turn to mosques or something like that, like what happened in the Christian world. In Syria, for example, the Umayyad Mosque now, it used to be St. John Church in the past, and it was turned to a mosque.
Well, I like to point out the Al-Aqsa Mosque on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem was a Byzantine church.
True.
The architecture is unmistakable, and the history, the archaeology, unmistakable. That's a church.
Yes. And the dome, they say they stole it from one of the churches and they brought it. That's in history, actually.
As a Muslim who converted to Christianity, what's your message to Christians now? I guess one of it is awaken to what you're dealing with.
Yes.
But what's our hope here? What's the message?
I believe that our Christian message is strong enough to change the hearts of and the minds of Muslims. That's what I'm trying to do, because I experienced it myself. If it was not to the message of the gospel, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be defending the Western values based on Christianity. So I believe we have a strong message that can change the whole world. It's happening already in Algeria, Morocco, in Iran, in Iraq, and in Egypt and other places. I have seen thousands of converts coming from Islam to Christianity. I think we have a message of hope, and I believe it's powerful enough to change Muslims.
How important is it to see regime change in Iran? Is that going to stop the flow of money to the terrorists?
It's a must, and I think it's just a matter of time. It's going to happen no matter what. The regime change has to happen in Iran. Without it, we will not see Iran changing.
Well, will that sort of help dismantle the current threat in Europe? If they see that defeat, is that going to be, oh, well, we'll just hide until we get strong again? Or is it really going to change their mind?
I think it's going to change their mind. Al-Qaeda got defeated. ISIS got defeated. The Caliphate got defeated a long time ago. Muslim Brotherhood got defeated in many places. That sent a message to them that they cannot do the same thing. They cannot duplicate it or replicate it. The same thing will happen with the Shia side. If Iran gets defeated, then Hezbollah, the Houthis, all of their allies, they are just going to be defeated on the ground, and I don't think they are coming back any soon.
Any practical steps for governments to take right now?
I think they should deal, one of the things, they should deal with education, educational curriculums in the Muslim world. Everybody is ignoring that, and the media. The media playing a huge role in radicalizing people, especially Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera did to my generation a harm that nobody has done. And I think Al Jazeera did harm to the U.S. and the West more than any political entity in the Middle East. So they have to be aware of what the media is doing in the Middle East and Muslim world.
Okay. Tell us about your ministry. What are you trying to do?
Well, I'm trying to just compare Islam and Christianity and present Christ as a savior for Muslims so they can believe in him and change, because I believe that hatred destroyed our hearts and minds, and that's why we have groups like ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and other places coming from Middle East. And I believe that Christ can change our hearts so we can become loving people. We don't have enemies. We love Israel, we love the Jews, we love Christians, and we love Muslims as well. I don't hate them. I don't like Islam and its anti-Christian message, anti-Christian ideology. And I believe Christ can save Muslims. I have seen it myself. I have seen even people who were part of ISIS and their hearts changed. And I believe Christ is the hope for Middle East and North Africa and the whole Muslim world.
I do too. I've seen the miracle. I've seen the transformation, and it's wonderful to see. Amen. So let's keep doing that. Well, if you want to learn more about how you can support Brother Rachid's mission, all you have to do is go to ArabicMediaMinistries.com. Be sure to follow them across social media. More importantly, make sure to support them. Now more than ever, we need to preach the gospel. We need to preach the gospel in the Arabic world, in Indonesia, in Malaysia, in Pakistan. We need to go right to the heart of it and say, your ideas about God need to change. God is a God of love, not of war. And that's a wonderful message that I think they will respond to. Iran is closed to the gospel, yet the underground church is flourishing. The people there are looking for an alternative to the oppression offered by the Islamic regime. And many have found the solution through CBN's Heart for Iran.
For the past 20 years, CBN has played an integral part in bringing the gospel to Iran. On March 1st, 2006, CBN's Heart for Iran launched the first 24/7 Farsi Christian satellite channel, Mohabbat TV.
We realized that there is a huge appetite for the gospel of love in Iran. We don't engage in any political discussions. We never engage in debates over Islam. We just purely talk about the love of Christ. And Iranians, just in numbers, they just reach out to us and they say, tell us more.
One of the greatest achievements is being able to receive the calls directly from people of Iran. We have received over 650,000 inbound calls and over 240,000 indicated salvation.
I grew in my faith watching Mohabbat TV. I didn't know any other Christian person. I would contact the call center and they would pray for me.
The audience need to know that Iranians are traumatized people. 47 years of living under oppression, and many calls when they come in, they just want a solution for this trauma, to find joy, to find peace, to find a solution, how to fix their lives.
Iran is a closed region to the gospel. Iran is among the top 10 most dangerous places to be a follower of Christ. Yet we're seeing that the church in Iran, the underground church in Iran, is multiplying at a very fast rate.
Despite the risks, Iranians seek the truth by watching our programs and even calling to pray with hosts on live TV.
خیلی خوش آمدید مهتاب جان.
می‌خواستم برام دعا کنید و روحمو به عیسی مسیح بدم.
خدا رو شکر. چقدر خوب، چقدر عالی. مهتاب جان، عالی. میخوام مهتاب جان و سایر عزیزان این دعا رو با ایمان قلبی، مهتاب جان میخواد خودش رو تسلیم بکنه و مسیح رو بپذیره به عنوان خداوند و نجات دهنده و هدیه عالی نجات رو امشب دریافت بکنه که حیات ابدی است. مهتاب جان این دعا رو با ایمان قلبی بعد از من تکرار کن.
Mohabbat Virtual Church is a live online church for isolated believers.
They connect with us in a weekly basis where they can get the chance to worship, get into communication and fellowship with the believers, ask their questions, and get counseling from the pastors that are available there.
When internet access is restricted or shut down, Mohabbat TV's satellite broadcast still reaches into people's homes. Viewers can watch programs like Reach for Life, Women of Grace, and Superbook.
به نظر شما کدام یک از سه مرد موجود در داستان همسایه فرد غارت شده بودند؟
Our House, Our Church is a series that teaches Iranian Christians how to have a house church.
It's one of the greatest resources we can offer the church inside Iran, a church that doesn't have any access to any educational institutions, any theological schools, any church buildings, established Christian institutions. Through these programs, we are mobilizing and resourcing the house church movement in Iran.
CBN's Heart for Iran shares the gospel and helps believers grow strong in their faith. When Iranians reach out, our team answers questions about faith and provides Bibles, encouragement, and prayer.
I pray for courage and I pray for resilience for the Church of Iran to continue to carry on God's vision and expand the kingdom. They have done it in the past, and I'm sure they'll do it in the future, but I want to pray increasing resiliency and courage for the church to be the beacon of hope and the light in that country.
You can help support preaching the gospel to Iran. Yes, there's a war going on, but there's also a spiritual battle happening at the same time. We need to reach out with hands of love and compassion to people. And the best way to show compassion is to share the good news with them. So you can do that through Moabit, through Heart for Iran. It's a wonderful ministry. It's now celebrating its 20th year. As the 20th anniversary of preaching the gospel. So if you want to be a part of it, if you want to say, I'm preaching the gospel in Iran today, go to cbn.com/Iran, or you can call us, 1-800-700-7000, or you can put your smartphone and put the camera at that QR code, and we'll send you to a landing page. Your gift will be designated 100% into Heart for Iran, into Moabit. So everything will be going to preach the gospel to Iran. So do it, and do it generously, and do it now. 1-800-700-7000. Here's a closing word from the book of Joel. Return to the Lord your God, for he is gracious and merciful, slow to anger and of great kindness, and he relents from doing harm. For me, for all of us here, God bless you, and we'll see you again.
Around the world, children need care, protection, and love. When we take their hands, change begins. When disaster strikes, helpers rise, mending wounds, seen and unseen. No one stands alone. And where tables are empty, we pass dishes and fill plates, creating a world where no one goes hungry. Clean water brings health and hope where thirst once ruled. Healing flows through life-changing care and compassion that transforms communities. Together, we're building a world where every child thrives and every family is strong. Our teams are on the ground every day working alongside local leaders to make real, lasting impact. Will you join us? Visit ob.org to make a difference today.
God is calling you to go. Go wherever he tells you.
At Regent, we don't just learn about the renewing work of the Holy Spirit, we experience it.
Remember who you are. Remember whose you are. Go and do even greater things, and never forget, your God is with you.